I am here with Chris Breezy Brown, who is getting ready to fight this Friday, July 12th, against Yemi Oduwole at LFA 71. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really good, and this is a big fight. Obviously, LFA is one of the bigger promotions regionally across the country. This time it's going to be in Atlanta, Georgia. How excited are you to make this trip?
Oh man, I'm super excited. I spent half my life in Atlanta, so it's a homecoming for me. My dad's side of the family's from Atlanta, so I'm excited to get back out there, see my granny and everybody.
So, do you anticipate to have quite a few family members there watching you fight?
Oh yeah, my grandma's gonna be there, and a lot of my dad's side is gonna be there, so I'll have my own little cheering section.
Okay, well, that's good. I initially thought maybe you'd be going into hostile territory because your
Oh no.
opponent is from the Georgia area, or at least he trains there. He's been there for a while, so this is somewhat of a homecoming for you. Then you must be even more excited.
Oh shit, yeah, it's so hype. My family members are excited. Everybody's excited. My dad's excited. He's making the trip from Houston out there. Spend some time with the fam. So everybody's excited for me to be out there.
Very cool. Now I do understand that you used to be a semi-pro professional football player, and you
Yeah.
quite a bit more. What's your weight at right now?
I woke up this morning at 169.
Okay, so the cut's not too bad. You're
Easy cut.
easy
Yeah,
cut
the
for you.
price
Okay.
at 160.
Okay, 160. Yeah, so you're right
Yeah.
there. What did you
They
normally use
changed
to
the weight
walk around at
class. They changed the weight to 160 for him
for him?
because
Okay.
he can't make 155, I guess.
So it wouldn't have made a difference to you, 155, 160. You still could have
He
made
still
that weight.
cut me. I don't have to cut those extra 5 pounds, so I'm happy.
No
I
doubt.
can't complain. But this dude's never made weight even at 160 because he's never fought. He's supposed to fight, I guess, 155, but all his fights are. I think his pro debut was at 170, and then the next fights were at 160, but he never made 160. He's never been lower than 164. So
So
we'll see if he makes weight this time.
yeah, that was my next question. We'll see if he makes this weight at 160. How has this camp been for you? How fresh and are you feeling to go on against Yemi?
Man, I've had an amazing. Well, I've been in camp since November, basically, because I've had four fights canceled this year, and and that doesn't count the people that it took just to get those guys to even agree, because all the promoters that I've tried to fight for and even my manager, like they're like they've never had the type of problems that it is trying to match me. Like everybody all freaks out. They're like, when I tried to fight in Detroit, Darren Cruikshank, he pussied out. Like he got scared when he saw me at weigh-ins, and then went around trying to lie about, oh, I was 7 pounds over. Man, I showed up. They had a bad scale at the LA Fitness there, and I forgot my personal scale in the room. So the scale at the gym said I was on weight, and I got back to my room and it said I was 5 pounds over. So I called the promoter and I said, hey, I'm a little bit over. I got to cut this weight. And he was like, yeah, just come over here and you'll get 2 hours to cut the weight. So I get over there. And when I get over there, I'm 5 pounds over. They already knew that. And so, all right, you got 2 hours to go cut. And then the whole time I was cutting, Darren's team were just complaining, like, oh, we don't want to wait for him. We're not going to wait. This is bullshit. We're not going to wait. And then I didn't even get the full 2 hours. So I came back like an hour and a half later, 1 pound over, and he wouldn't fight. And he just like kept making excuses. And then he was like, oh, well, come back tomorrow at 160 or I won't fight you at 5 o'clock. The fight started at 8. So Coach Wink was like, don't do it unless they let you come back at 65 because that's bullshit to, do 3 pound recovery. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to show up. I'm going to be there at 160 and I'm going to be down to fight. And I showed up at like 5:10 because we had to get an Uber. We ended up getting a ride from a guy who was a sheriff who was actually hanging out in the sauna while I was cutting weight. He was on his way to the fights as well. So he gave us a ride to the fights. And we get there like 5:10. I get on the scale at 160, and Darren, the promoter, goes and gets Darren. Darren comes over and is like, I'm not fighting him. I got rid of that deal a long time ago. And then everybody's like, what do you mean? You brought your fight bag. Like, what are you talking about? So he like completely bitched out. So And then went in the crowd and tried to tell people I was 7 pounds over and got in the cage like, oh, my guy was a little bit overweight, but we're professionals about this. I'm like, in his hometown, he sold tickets to his family and then got up there and lied about the reason he didn't fight.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up when you think about it. But a lot of that must have to come from the fact that you train at, for a lot of people's money, the #1 gym, not just in the country, in the world. And yeah, man. So I mean, that right there has got to get into a lot of people's heads, just looking at the people that you're training with day in and day out to get ready for these fights. Who has been your main training partners for this fight to get ready against Yemi?
Really, Holly's my main training partner. Always, I'm always helping her get ready for her fights, and so we're constantly on the grind. We've been been together a few years now. That we're just like we get in there and grind because she feels comfortable with me. I know how to make her work without hurting her. A lot of people let their egos get to them when they're sparring with her because she does hit hard. And she's aggressive, and some people can't handle that, and they get upset and want to try to get back at her. But that never. I'm just trying to help her get better, and it always makes me get better because I have to train in orthodox, and I'm a southpaw.
Mm-hmm.
So most of the people she fights are orthodox, so I'm always switching for her. So it just helps me get comfortable. Spend a lot of time with Patchy Mix over there from Bellator. He just made his Bellator debut with that quick choke out. He's got me with one of those before, but he was like 1 out of 10. That's why he likes going with me because he knows it's a struggle. Like he can get, like everybody likes going with me because they know nothing's easy when it's with me. Like I was Diego Sanchez's main partner before he left the gym this camp. He's going through his own thing, so so I spend a lot of time with them and different people that come in and out of the gym, UFC fighters.
Yeah, I'm sure no matter who it is who comes in day to day, they're a bunch of killers, obviously, at Jackson Wing. I'd like to follow up with a couple questions about Holly and Diego, if you don't mind. Obviously, the tough loss for Holly at UFC 239. Amanda Nunes is a monster. Holly, former champion. She's one of the greats to ever do it as far as the female goes, no doubt about it. What do you think her future is? Have you got a chance to talk to her? What's her mindset right now? Do you just get back in camp and get
she messaged me last night. So she's just gonna get right back on the grind. She's not done because people want to hate or do whatever, but the only people she lost to are champions.
Yeah.
So people want to be like, oh, she should retire this. I'm like, she's not losing to bums. And then when she fought Jermaine, she won that fight.
Right.
They cheated her out of that fight because there's no way she lost that fight. Especially when you consider that she got hit twice after the bell and the girl still won. So at the least, it should have been a draw.
Mm-hmm.
So I know Holly, she was like, she got back. She was posting on Instagram, like, I'm back in town with my fat lip. So I messaged her. I was like, keep that fat lip up, champ. And she's like, I'm going to take it on, she's going to take it and run with it. So I know she'll be back in the gym soon because she's always training. Even when she doesn't have a fight signed, she's in the gym getting better. And she's made a lot of progress. And she was looking great in the fight before she got caught. She just got caught in a bad position.
Yeah.
So, and Amanda is a beast, so you can't take anything away from her. But she held her own, and she didn't go to sleep. So I thought it was a little bit of early stoppage. And Holly would rather go out on her shield, go to sleep. You see how she was with Misha Tate. She's not going to tap. You got to put her to sleep. So I felt bad that I know she hated that ref jumped in like that. So
I'm happy to hear that she's that according to what you're saying, she's going to be back in the gym and getting back. She's one of my favorite female fighters to watch, no doubt about it.
She's one of my biggest inspirations. Like she's the reason I started running 10 miles.
Yeah, that's a long run. That's the run.
She used to go on these 7-mile runs, and she was like, I went the wrong way. And ended up adding 3 more miles to it. So I just turned it into a 10-mile run that I do. So I was like, shit, I got to start running 10 miles. Like, if Holly's doing it, I got to do it. So I just took it as motivation. And, I got out there and I started working toward that, and I started doing that myself.
Oh well, that's one of the best training techniques you can do is getting out there and running. I mean, I see it all the time, regardless of where you're at. You know, professional level, amateur level, getting out there and running is very important.
Yeah,
I
you got to.
on Diego as well. I know he switched camps. There's some rumors, you know, as to why he did that. Can you just kind of elaborate as to maybe why he left Jackson Wink?
Yeah, I know he had got on there and said that whole interview. Um, that just wasn't true. I love Diego, but you know, always saying that they weren't giving him love or he wasn't getting enough time with the coaches. Like you can't get time if you don't show up to your sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody already knows Diego's on Diego's schedule, so uh, he was doing his own thing. He met that dude before the last fight with Mickey Gall, and you know Diego likes to be like he says do things outside of the box. But I just wish he wouldn't have done it this last fight and you know actually trained with us, you know sparred and did any of that stuff. But he wasn't. He did his own little running and spiritual stuff. So you know, going into such a big fight, we just wish he would have, you know, actually got in there and worked with me.
Yeah,
Especially we've been together for so long. Like I've been his main training partner for years now. Like he cornered me in my amateur fights, you know. So it was just real disappointing that he did all that and then to do it the way he did it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's disappointing, especially someone that's a high-level fighter like him. It'd be nice to have him in camp getting you ready for this fight. You know, there's a lot of speculation about Diego. I mean, he's always been, let's just say, he's an interesting guy. You know, he kind of, like you said, he thinks outside the box. He cut that unbelievable promo with Ariel Helwani. Then you hear a lot of people talking about, and I mean this in the most respectful way. I just want to get your thoughts as a teammate, as a friend. You know, people talk about like head trauma. Some people have even mentioned CTE with him, and he's been fighting for so long, and he's pushing 40 years old. Do you think that he is like getting to that point where he needs to retire? Is that something that you even have thought about?
He's still tough. Like you see, he didn't tap out. He didn't go to sleep. So no, he's got more in the tank. He's tough, but you know, but if you're gonna, you know, if you want to fight, like especially at 170, he walks around at 172 like always. So I'm like, he's at a major disadvantage fighting with the top tier guys. You know, he fought Mickey Gall and Craig White, but they're not like top tier guys. So, you know, he's still gonna be. So he's still got a lot in the tank. Probably more of a gatekeeper at this point.
Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully he's all right and he'll be back.
Yeah, I know he's fine. He's fine.
Yeah.
He's posting on Instagram that you know he's hanging out and says he ain't going nowhere. So you know, I still love him.
One last question about UFC 239. John Jones, obviously Jackson Wink as well. I don't think a lot of people expected the fight to go like that. I still scored it for John. I thought he won 3-2. But I got to admit, I mean, I'm so used to seeing him dominate that when you go in against someone, granted, Thiago Santos is an unbelievable power striker. I guess I'm just surprised that it was as close as it was. Are you as well, or did you expect maybe this?
He's fought a smart fight. Because Thiago's power is ridiculous. Yeah. In the fights, you could see that even when he was hurt, like when John would try to like rush in, he would like kind of get a glancing blow and have to immediately get out of there because you know it just takes one of those things and he's going to sleep. So he had to fight a real smart fight and he outstriked him in every round except the first. So I was like, so I don't even know how one of the judges gave it to him. Yeah, octagon control the whole fight. Yep. He was advancing the whole fight. So, and he was never hurt. So, other than those little leg kicks, but those didn't bother him during the fight because he was still advancing, still walking them down. So, and like he said, he went toe to toe with a Muay Thai, black belt champion or whatever. So, people were upset. They're like, "Oh, we're used to him dominating," but you know, if you don't dominate, they want him to lose. So just because, you know, he gets a lot of hate as it is just for being John. But I thought he fought a real smart fight, kept himself out of danger. And, you know, at this point in his career, you know, 13 title defenses, like he's got a lot of risk. You know, there's a lot of money on the line for these fights to go out there and just be reckless because people want him to get a finish. So, you know, I think he did exactly the right thing.
Yeah, well, he's still the champ, no matter what people think. And I'm sure whoever he fights next will have to face an even more dangerous and motivated John Jones. So that's a
Oh yeah, he
scary
already said
obstacle.
he at the press conference. He was post-fight press conference. He's like, "Yeah, back on the grind. I'm gonna watch this fight and improve my holes." But not very many people have power like that. So that's another thing. People want to be like, "Oh, I can go do this and emulate what Thiago did." But like, no, you don't hit like that. So you're
Yeah.
not as much of a threat as that. So the people have to think about that too. So.
No doubt about it. Now, again, your fight is this Friday. Weigh-ins are right around the corner. LFA 71. For anyone that does not know, your opponent here, Yemi, he's got a little bit more experience than you as a pro. What do you expect him to try and implement as his game plan?
I don't know. Do the same thing he usually does in his fights. He I guess he has a couple more fights than me, but his competition is lower than the competition that I fought. He fought one guy with over 3 fights, and that's I guess some UFC vet he fought his last fight. That's like 13-7. So I fought my last 2 fights were against dudes with over 30 fights each. So and I fought Thomas Gifford, and we had a fight of the year for V3, who won fight of the year, and he got signed to the UFC after that fight. So uh, that I think that's a big difference between fighting a washed up UFC guy into a guy who just got into the UFC. Um, and then even before uh, his pro debut was against a 1-0 guy. Then the second fight was a guy making his pro debut, and then the next fight was against a guy who only had 1 fight. So I'm like, that's not really a lot of experience in reality.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
And then he fought one of my manager's guys out there, and I think for V3, and he got out wrestled in that fight, and somehow won a decision. Like it's a controversial win because me and Greg watched the first 2 rounds, and Greg didn't even want to watch the third. And I was like, he wins this fight, and he was like, how? I was like, I have no idea how he won the fight either, but somehow he won that fight. But he never makes weight, so I think he's gonna go out. He's kind of like seems like kind of a cocky guy when he's fighting. He likes to like try to like um, do the showmanship stuff. Like he likes to do his little hands and things like that. I know he's a little tough guy, gonna take some shots, but I feel I'm way faster. I feel that I know I have better training partners, and I've been doing this for a long time. Um, and like I said, I've had 4 fights canceled this year, so I've just been rolling camp to camp. So I've just been improving and getting better. My condition's ridiculous. Like so, I'm very well prepared and motivated for this fight to finally, especially getting fight in Atlanta. So he doesn't have an advantage there. Talking of being in enemy territory, I'm comfortable there. That's why I grew up between Houston and Atlanta. So I'm feeling very great about this fight.
So stylistically, do you have a preference as to whether this fight hits the mat or stays standing, or does it matter to you?
I want to stand. I stand. Of course, I'm originally a wrestler, but if you watch my fights, you wouldn't tell that because I only wrestle when I need to wrestle or when I'm in the position. And I've seen his wrestling's not great. Like I've seen him out wrestled, and basically all his fights he gets taken down, and he gets like reverses on people who can't wrestle though. You know what I mean? He's fighting with people who aren't real grapplers, and he still gets taken down, but he'll like get like a little easy reverse or something like that. Um, my grappling is very very underrated because I don't use it a lot, but I'm one of the best grapplers at Jackson Wink, and and that's everybody around the world. When they come in, they already know like Breezy is the hardest person to take down in the gym. Like my takedown defense is ridiculous. So, and just shown in my fights too. I don't think anyone. I think I got took down by Thomas one time uh, at the very end of the fight, but my conditioning since then, I took it to a whole nother level. That fight like made me push myself to a whole nother level.
So to me, Chris, it sounds like you feel like you're going to get a very dominant victory here.
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
expect to get him out in the first round?
That's the game plan. I know it's going to be a dominant victory.
TKO submission? What are you thinking? Give us an
Uh,
official prediction.
I'm shooting for the TKO KO. I'm trying to put these hands and feet on them.
Round one.
If I have to go ground and pound, I can. My ground and pound is ridiculous right now. Me and Greg been putting in a lot of work on my ground and pound, just cleaning up technique because I've always been good at it. Just cleaning it up, and I've gotten a lot better, more technical, and my power has really come through a lot now. So I'm very excited to showcase like everything I've been working on. You know, I just been in the lab for so long now. And it's just like, man, finally get to get out there and go. So stylistically, I think it's a good matchup because he does like to stand. He's not really a great striker from the fights that I've seen. He's nothing really special.
So who will be making a trip with you to Atlanta, Georgia for this fight? Obviously,
It'll be me and Greg this fight. Wink's not gonna be able to make it. He promised my teammate Christian Edwards he's making. I think he's making his pro debut for Bellator the same night.
Okay.
So out there in Oklahoma. So Wink had promised him that he would go to him, and my fights keep getting canceled and switched. So he had already made a promise. So he was real hurt about that because Wink has been with me since I was an amateur. He's been cornering me since I'm an amateur. So not a lot of people can say that.
Right. Right. Well, regardless, you have some good company going with you and Mr. Greg Jackson.
Oh yeah, this will be our second fight, just me and him, and we spend a lot of time together, and I think we're gonna be just fine.
So, Chris, what is next for you? Obviously, you're focused on this fight. You're going to go get this win. What does 2019 look like for you? What are the goals that you want to accomplish before this?
I just want somebody to fight me. I was like, everybody, like, people know me all across the country. Like, when I go to Vegas for the fights and stuff, people know me, recognize me. Like, for a while now, wherever I go, people recognize me. When I went out to Memphis for this last fight that got canceled because the guy didn't show up to weigh-ins. I had a lot of fans over there that had seen the fight of the year with V3. So, a lot of people were coming to me like, oh, man, you're awesome. Like, I want to come down to Jackson Wink and fight and, train. So I get a lot of love everywhere I go. So it's crazy. Once people like hear my story and everything, like, I got shot in the head. Like people see that and I'm like, they're like, oh, you worried about this? I'm like, I don't worry about anything. I'm like, I'm not scared to fight. I'm like, I've been shot in the head. Like, what do I got to worry about after that? Like, I'm not worried about no man.
Right. Yeah, I mean, if you get shot in the head and you get through that, and now you're fighting as a professional mixed martial arts,
that's what I say.
I don't think you're going to be afraid of too many things in life.
Oh, I think that's the best thing that ever happened to me. Honestly, as crazy as it sounds, like getting shot, like I was an inch away from dying, centimeters away from dying. So I just really think it was a blessing in disguise because I packed up my car full of bullet holes and drove out here to New Mexico, and now they call me. Wink started calling me the future. So and Albuquerque has embraced me so much because Albuquerque is a fight town. We are the sports team out here. We are the biggest things out here. Word spreads fast. Especially things that I've been doing in the gym. So I walk down the street, I go downtown, I go to work or anything. People know who I am. People recognize me. People are like, oh, I seen you on TV and this and that. So, I get love. I walk into a building, they're like, the champ is here. It's crazy. It's surreal. Like, even my mom tripped out. I brought her out here, took her to a sushi place and the waiter was geeking out, was like, oh my God, I'm a fan. Like, so, and then they treat me like a superstar out here, and they love the way I conduct myself because I conduct myself very well, and I represent New Mexico well too. So
I gotta ask too, does having that near-death experience, does it give you more of an appreciation just for living in the moment and just living day to day, like everything that you experienced? Does it just really take it to the next level?
Yeah, that's what I really live in the moment now a lot nowadays. Like I don't think too far ahead into the future because you never know what's gonna happen. I just try to make the most of things while I have it and the opportunity that's in front of me. So I just try to make the most out of it and enjoy the best life that I can without going too overboard. Because especially like being around John and all the issues that he's been through, you know. So Wink's always on me, on my head about that stuff. Like, Chris, you got to do the right things. Chris, you got to do this. Chris, you know, you can't mess up. You know, you can change a lot of people's lives with your story and things like that. And I do motivate a lot of people with the things that I've been through, just telling my story, telling people, you know, you don't have to be a victim of your circumstances. You can make it out of anything.
Mm-hmm. No doubt. Well, Chris, we definitely appreciate your time here joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you fight this Friday here for LFA 71. Before I let you go, man, I just want to give the floor to you. Anyone you want to thank or your social media, please go ahead and do so.
Yeah, shout out to my boy, Isaac Moya. He is my biggest supporter, my number one sponsor. Shout out to Barleans. They keep me nice and healthy. They got the essential oils, fish oils, MCT. They keep me with my supplements and everything. Jackson Wink Nutrition, Dr. Anita, she's the best nutritionist in the game. I wouldn't make 55 if it wasn't for her. You know, I used to be 200 pounds when I first joined Jackson Wink, but I've never been fat. You know, I was solid. And Wink told me, he's like, I want you to be a 55. I was like, what the hell? I was like, I was dying to get to 170. You know, like people used to trip out on me, like, are you okay? Like just going to 170. And so he got me Dr. Anita, and you know, it changed my life because I really wouldn't be able to make it without her. And you know, shout out to Zia Roofing and Gutter, the best roofing and gutter people in New Mexico. And yeah, and shout out Coach Wink and Coach Greg, because without I just appreciate them believing in me so much, and you know, putting all the time that they put into me, you know, because they see how hard I work, and you know, I really had to work to get to this position, especially, you know, being a Jackson Wink, you know, the best fighters in the world. To get noticed, you know, you gotta do a lot. So just really appreciative of them and all of my teammates, you know, Holly, John, I love Diego, everyone who's helped me get to this position.
Well, again, we thank you very much for the time today, my friend. Best of luck Friday. Go get that W, and we'll be talking to you again soon.
Thank you. Have a great one.